Hi there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Whole Home Show. I'm Tony Joe, your host every week, bringing you tips, education, and updates on home-related matters. Whether you're in the real estate market or if you're looking for decorating or improvement ideas for your home, this is the place to be. Our show comes to you with the support of our show partners, Denise Webster, mortgage broker with Dominion Lending Center's Modern Mortgage Group, JP Sellas, insurance advisor with Westland Insurance, operating as Island Savings Insurance, the Sitka Law Group for your real estate, wills and estates, corporate and personal injury needs, and Shoreline Inspections with Reese Jacob and Monica Gass. And of course, there's me. I've been selling real estate here in Victoria since 1991. I'd be pleased to help you too. So if you need help or direction in your real estate transaction, give us, the Whole Home Show team members, a call. We'd love to hear from you. Real estate is a business and a career like no other. From the outside, it may seem glamorous with fancy cars and nice clothes, basically what you see on TV. But there are countless untold stories about the struggles agents go through on a daily basis. Some things you won't even believe until now. I've compiled a number of stories from my colleagues across the country, an anthology, if you will, of creepy, strange, odd, and often hilariously funny real-life stories. Today is one of several episodes I've compiled to entertain you. Sometimes we just all need a good laugh. We'll go straight to the stories today, but if you have a question or a story to tell us about real estate, call our hotline, 250-414-6540, or visit us on cfax1070.com, and we'll discuss it on a future episode. Let's get right into it. So next up, we have with us from White Rock, South Surrey, Amy Alto. She's with Homelife Benchmark. Amy, thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
You've got a story that I can't wait for you to describe it and explain it. So tell us what happened.
Okay, so we're doing an open house on a view property in White Rock, and if anyone's familiar with the view properties in White Rock, they're very tall, skinny, and some of them can be deceiving. They can have much better views than you think they do. Yep. So this one realtor, I'd forgotten this point, but this one realtor, I guess, had made comment that the view probably wasn't that great. And then she showed up for the open house, and she comes in the door, and I greeted her, and hi. So
this is a realtor coming in.
This is a realtor coming, open house, realtor coming though. Yep. And because she said she was coming, I didn't know who she was. She rolls in the door, and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm trying to talk to her, and she kind of blows right past me, right? And so I see her charging through the house, and hillside homes are long and skinny, right?
So she's going right for the view.
Right for the view, right?
Okay.
And as I'm seeing her flying through the house, I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, she's not stopping. She's not stopping. And the door, so it has a beautiful panoramic view out to White Rock Beach, right? Yeah. Big glass doors. Okay. Beautiful sunny day. It's sometimes on the hillside those days can be a little breezy, so we had it actually closed at that particular time because it was a little bit windy but clear. And so,
I'm guessing the glass was completely clean, so maybe hard to see. Okay, all right.
Yeah, besides the big, because it was a pull door open sort of thing, like a sliding glass door. So she starts charging right past me, and I thought that was gonna be. And then she's going. I'm going. The sliding glass door is closed, and in my head I'm thinking she has to see it. Like she has to see it, right?
Okay.
And in a span of her walking, I must have said it like 3 times. Like, so the sliding glass door is closed. Just watch out for the door. And she goes full tilt with her face into the sliding glass door.
Okay.
I am the worst in these situations because anytime anybody hurts themselves, I don't know what it is. It's like a nervous, and I start killing myself laughing. Her face literally rebounded off the door.
Okay.
She's flung around, and I look at her, and I'm in shock. And Scotty Alto is my business partner, also my mom. She's in shock.
Yeah.
Her eyes, I swear, were like rolling. They were crossing.
Okay.
And I start laughing. I'm in hysterics. So I go to the freezer and rip open the freezer and just bury my head in it, trying to get out the words, "Can I get you a ice pack?" or something like that. She is so embarrassed. She starts asking just a couple questions about that.
Oh, she did that thing where she pretended nothing happened?
She pretended like it never happened. Okay. But her face was swelling up as we were looking at her. And her entire face of makeup, because she wore really thick foundation, and she had like a pretty dark lip on, and it was into the sliding glass door.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, it was the funniest thing ever. And so I'm standing there, I can't even compose myself. I actually almost peed myself. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
My mom had to take over. Scotty had to take over. She asked a couple questions, then took out of there. I don't know how she didn't break her nose. I don't know. Maybe she did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But
So do you know her? Do you know her? Like, do you see her in the course of business? You don't?
Never.
Okay.
Don't know her. She flew through, and like it was like a bird going into a window, but I've never seen a human do it before.
Except leaving a mark, and that's the makeup,
Yes.
the outline, right?
Full face of makeup on the door.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, Amy. That is a great story. It's so much fun, the stuff that we get to see in this business, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought I warned her. I thought I thought she would stop her stride, but apparently not.
You did what you could.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Amy.
No worries. Take care.
So next we have with us from Sherwood Park, Alberta at Remax River City, Kimberly Graham. Kimberly, tell us your story.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, once upon a time I sold real estate in Winnipeg and I relocated to Edmonton for work. And a good friend of mine there, he sent me a referral for this listing, and I was so excited because I didn't have any business. I didn't know anybody. So I drive across town to this neighborhood I'd never been to before, and I go knock on the door, and this guy answers the door. Now, I'd been set up a little bit by my friend in Winnipeg, and he said, Kim, this guy, like, he's obsessed with his washer and dryer. And that was the funny part of the thing. And I remember thinking, like, obsessed with his washer dryer. I don't know. And it just added so much value to the house. And I thought, well, that can't be true. But anyway, he answered the door, and I'm not even making this up, in boxer shorts and like a dressing gown, like those old kind of nubbly ones that like older guys wear. Like, this is normal. We're just
like a lounge robe kind of thing. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Like you get out of the shower. What are those called? Bathrobes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had to ask him to put pants on, and he was kind of baffled as to why I would need to do that. But so I toured the house while he did that, and I did not get the listing. Yeah. And that's probably a really good thing. He listed with someone else completely, and I had to explain to my friend in Winnipeg why the referral wasn't going to work out. So.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, what goes through somebody's mind in that it's okay to do that, you know?
Yeah, I don't even really know. I mean, not to get into the semantics of being a woman in this business, and Amy can probably agree with me, but what on earth, what? Like, why would you answer the door in your underwear when a young lady's coming over to view your house?
Most people, like myself, like when someone knocks on the door, you're rushing to like put something decent on. Right?
And he knew I was coming. Saturday, 10 a.m. Like, he knew I was coming. It wasn't, I'm sure he was a total pervert, but.
Okay. Now, how about, you got another one too, right?
Well, I have several, but I'll just do this one.
Okay.
So I had been referred this woman. Now, she was a really remarkable human. You know, she had left an abusive marriage, had single-handedly, while working part-time, saved up, I think it was $80,000, and wanted to buy a brand new build in Winnipeg. And that's a significant down payment. If I recall correctly, she bought a place for about $175,000. So she did really good. So, and she had a son who was exactly my age. And I was very, very protective of her. She was very sweet on the phone. We spent a lot of time talking on the phone, had never met in person. So, and on the phone, she's very sweet, very soft-spoken. I knew her whole life story. So we finally set up a time this one winter evening. We go, and I'm opening the door, and we're just chit-chattering. And, you know, she says to me, oh no, it was when we were leaving and I was locking. And she said to me, hey, Kim, I'm curious, am I what you pictured? And I said, I mean, kind of. Like, you mentioned you were Portuguese, and you have those dark features and that dark skin. Yeah. And like, you're sweet and soft-spoken. And she was this petite, tiny little snippet of a woman. And I thought,
that's a really random question.
Yeah, like, who asked that? And I thought, okay, that's a really weird question. Like, why would she ask me that? So I posed the same question to her. And I said, her name's Celia. I said, Celia, am I what you pictured? And she said, no, Kimberly, I pictured you thinner.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know what to say to that. And here we are. And it's the Winnipeg, minus 40 degrees in the winter. And I'm trying to lock this door. And I'm completely like, I don't know how to respond to this. And I wasn't even offended. I just didn't want her to feel bad and think that I was offended. And I'm like, oh, well, that's really interesting. So anyway, to get to the next condo, we just have to go down the road. So yeah, it's an interesting place, Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Oh my God. Oh, so just out of curiosity, did you end up doing business with her?
I did, yeah. So she bought I mean, someone had to help this woman. Yeah, but she was really, this last part of it, she bought a brand new build, and you know those tub surrounds, they're all just one piece. One piece. In the middle, they have the shelves. Yeah. So she told me that looked like female anatomy, and she couldn't. Yeah, she actually made the builder like change to the corner. I'm serious, to the corner shelves. Yes, but she needed someone to advocate for her, and I was gonna do that. Just honestly, it was interesting.
Hey, but you know when you think about it, if she was open enough to say what she did to you, I guess it's kind of saying that she was comfortable. And
I took it as a compliment. Maybe she thought I don't know. She was expecting someone really, really attractive, and I sound attractive on the phone. I don't really know, but yeah. She was, that was interesting. I wasn't offended. It was just hilarious because who says that?
Some of the stories we have. Thanks for joining us, Kimberly.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming back to the Whole Home Show. Let's jump into yet more stories about real estate. And now we have with us another local Victorian. It's Mitch Lidstone. He's with our company too, with Remax Camosun. Mitch, you've got quite the story. Tell us about your encounter.
Hey, Tony. Yeah, it was actually my first year in real estate that this happened.
Okay.
I didn't take too much time to think about a nice descriptive feel to the story, but we'll get right into it. So I was actually showing condos here in Victoria, and it just so happened that the client was a really good friend of mine, which helped a lot in the situation.
Okay.
And we had a couple on the list, and the third condo on the list we were looking at, we opened the front door. We got, of course, our approval from the realtor to view the place. Was told the seller would be out and not present at the time. Yeah. But I guess the seller had forgotten to tell his roommate that there was a showing going on. So we did our whole walkabout around the unit. We checked the balcony, did the kitchen, the living room, the master bedroom.
Typical showing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just walking around, doing our thing. And then one of the doors was shut in the unit, which of course, when you know that nobody's going to be home, you just walk right in. Yeah. So we just opened the door.
Yeah, because your showing was cleared. You weren't expecting anything, right?
Exactly. Okay. You're exactly right. So we just walk right in. And the first thing we see is a guy sitting on his bed looking up at us with a needle in his arm, and he doesn't even really flinch, to be honest. He looks up and says, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, sorry to bug you here. He's in his underwear with a needle in his arm.
But we're talking here recreational drug use.
Yeah, not embarrassed about it in any way.
Okay.
So half naked, sitting on his bed with a needle in his arm. He kind of says, "Hey, how's it going?" Doesn't kick us out, not too startled or anything. We're a bit weirded out. Yeah. So of course we shut the door, and definitely had a bit of a eerie feeling about the unit, and maybe it kind of made us think a little bit differently about the type of the building we were in.
Okay. So then did your guy end up buying the place?
And funny enough, we found ourselves back at the office a half hour later, writing up the offer.
Or listen, your mom, a pal of mine, she's been in the business for a long time. I bet you she's got some stories to tell too, huh?
Oh yeah, and not stuff that should be really said out loud either. Yeah, I've heard a few.
Got it. Thanks for joining, Mitch.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day, Tony. Cheers.
Okay, so Amy, a weird question.
Well, not that much of a weird question, but I didn't even know how to answer it without being completely not sounding sarcastic. But we were standing there, and it was November, and it had been raining for like a month, and we had just finished monsoon rains, right? And and again in White Rock we tend to have flat roofs for views, right? Yeah. So sometimes you get a little pooling, right? And they were staring outside looking at one part of the roof. And so I said, "Oh, you have any questions or something?" And they're like, "Well, we're just noticing the roof is just really wet."
Okay.
And I'm like, I thought they were joking, because literally it had just stopped raining for a small second here. It had been raining forever. It was and I was like, okay. And then I thought that they were joking, including they weren't joking. I'm like, because it's been raining for 30 days straight. And they looked at me like there was something wrong with the roof. I did no answer with them without sounding like a total jerk, really, right? Because I'm like, it's been raining for 30 days. The roof is wet.
That's what roofs do.
When it rains, the roof.
Yes.
But there was no way to get out of it. I was like, I don't know how to explain this without sounding.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? As they always say, there is no such thing as a stupid question, but there are some questions that raise our eyebrows, right?
Yes. I was like, really? I don't know how to get around this one. It's red.
Love it. Okay, thank you. All right, we got another story with Kimberly Graham here in Sherwood Park. What do we got?
Okay, so it's a bit convoluted, so I'll make it really, really short. So I was grocery shopping one day and I got hit on at the grocery store.
Okay.
And I was like, I just don't even really understand what's happening. And of course I'm Canadian and I'm nice. And I was like polite about it. Like, basically I'm married, like, no thanks, but no thanks. Yep. And he was chit-chatting with me. It turns out, through the irony of ironies, he happens to be a client of a brother of one of my most favorite clients. And it's very true. He showed me his ID. They had the same last name. It's very unique last name. So I was like, well, how funny is that? And he was relocating to the area from Chicago, and they were all originally from overseas. And so he's looking for a realtor, and he had heard of me and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, well, if you want to buy income properties, that's cool. I can help you with that. So our first meeting was good. The second meeting was at a coffee shop, and he was very, very flirtatious, and I kept having to shut him down. Yeah. And it was kind of funny because there was nobody else in this coffee shop. It's like a stormy afternoon, except for these two ladies who were sitting at the table next to us. And you could tell they were kind of listening to our conversation. And at one point now I should mention, he was married with a child. Now,
and he's flirting with you.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was told that in their culture, whether this is true or not, that this is okay. Like, okay. They're a polygamous culture, and okay. In some parts of Africa, this is normal. And whatever, man, you do you. But again, for the millionth time, I'm married. And I'm not, he says, so that's not a problem for me. I said, well, that's really nice. It's a problem for me. So at some point during this second meeting at the coffee shop, he gets this phone call from this girl, and they kind of get into a tiff on the phone. And I'm like, I don't really know how to respond to what's happening here, so I'm just going to wait politely until I can leave, because this is getting kind of like next level weird. Yeah. And he hangs the phone up, and he says, oh, sorry, that was my girlfriend, so-and-so, and she's really mad because I just broke up with her. And I was like, I mean, you're married, you have a child, like, you think you and I are dating, and you have a girlfriend that you've broken up with, and I don't really understand what's happening. But like, gosh, I'm really sorry to hear that. He says, yes, like, she's upset because I told her I met you and we're going to be dating. And
what?
And it gets better. Again, for the millionth time, like, I just got really kind of mean about it. Like, no. And obviously you don't want to buy a house. Like, I'm an idiot. And these two ladies, you could tell they were getting kind of worried for me. They were like, honey, do you need us to intervene? I was like, no, it's cool. I got it. So I'm like, well, that's really nice. Like, I think you're going to have to work with my business partner, Stacey. Like, this is just not going to work out. So I start packing up, and he says, no, seriously, Kimberly. And I swear to God, he says this to me. I would like very much to have an affair with you and make the boom boom. And then he said some other things. Yeah. And it got a little harassy after that, so I left. But
so hold on a second. Did he say were those his words, or did you just,
completely say, now English was probably his third or fourth language.
Okay.
So I think that sometimes, when you learn English later in life, you say things kind of funny, right? And it was like, in any other respect, it would have been cute. But he literally says to me, after he gets into a fight with his girlfriend, while he's already married, and he says, I'm breaking up with her because you and I are going to start dating. And he said some other choice things that I'm not going to say in the video. But, yes, I would like to have an affair with you and make the boom boom, because I was like, is this how people talk where you're from? Because like, where I'm from, like, I'm going to punch you in the face. Like, I don't know what makes you think this is okay, but
oh my goodness.
Now him I didn't work with. I didn't work with him, and I wasn't afraid of him. It just got a little.
But was he talking to you sincerely for real estate, or was the real estate the connection to his
I think he was hoping for a new mistress and a new realtor. I do think he bought a place through someone else in the end, because I remember running into his brother a couple years later, and he was telling me about it. But it was next level weird. Like, it got next level weird.
So when was this? How long ago was this?
Oh gosh, at least 8 years ago.
Okay, because it makes you wonder. Like, today, like, hopefully people are a little more, in the world we're in today. Like, this is not appropriate behavior, obviously. Right?
It was previous to the Me Too movement, and I could go on and on about this, but it was pretty a ballsy thing to just say to someone who you sincerely wanted to hire as a realtor, and his whole thing was they wanted. Now this is in Winnipeg as well, and it's quite common. There's a lot of immigration that happens, and he wanted to buy houses for immigrants to rent out, and it was just this really great, cool thing he wanted to do, and I would have loved to have been a part of that, but he He made it
Is
weird,
it just me?
you know?
Is it just me, or all of your stories Winnipeg based? Like all the funny
You
stuff.
know, yeah, they are. I probably have some Edmonton ones based. I think I've just gotten a little smarter about who.
Well, I hate to say it, and the listeners of this program will know.
Yeah.
I always use Winnipeg as an example. Not that I hate Winnipeg. I've been in Winnipeg. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, there's a Winnipeg in every country, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's a wild place, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Kimberly.
Mm.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Tony Joe, and this is the Whole Home Show. Today, I'm taking you on a cross-country tour to hear real-life stories from agents. Let's get right back to it. So now we have with us Jason Steele. Jason is with Royal LePage Exchange. You're in Port Elgin.
Port Elgin. Where's Lake Huron? Absolutely.
Yeah. Now let's see. That is west of like Collingwood and Owen Sound and all that, right?
Yeah. We're about a half an hour west of Owen Sound.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been there yet. I got to pop by and visit you one of these days. I see you at conferences all the time, right? So, yeah. We know each other from that. We've been telling fun stories, and you got one that I got to say I've never heard before. So tell us. So start it up. What happened?
Oh my God! Early in my career, so I'm at home getting ready for an open house, and I get a phone call from a seller, asking me if I could come this afternoon and look at his place, give him an idea of price. So I thought, you know what, I'm already dressed. I'm ready to go. I'm in my realtor clothes. Let's do it. So
sounds pretty
I
normal.
Head over there. Yeah. I head over there. I know it's what we kind of deem renters row. Okay. So it's semi-detached homes generally used as rentals in our area. So I thought nothing of it. I know the seller and I know the tenants that were in there. So I go in and we go to the basement apartment first, the lower level. And we walk in and, I before we went in, I noticed like the lawns, everything's matted down. Like they've had all kinds of animals there and dog kennels in the back. And I'm thinking, oh my God. So I walk in and the flooring's carpeted. You could tell when you first walked in, it was carpeted, but as you're looking further down in the room, it's matted down and it's got a sheen on it.
A sheen?
Like it's shiny, like hardwood would be, right? So I'm like, what's going on? Okay. So we're walking through and it was the amount of filth that had matted down these carpets.
Like dirty, like just dirty.
Dirty, yeah. It was just so gross. And you could smell animals and not just dog. I mean, you could smell like the bedding from cages and all kinds of stuff. So I tried to make it very quick, right? You go in, snap a few pictures. Most of these the layouts are the same. So I get out of there, I thank them, shake hands, get in my car, head over to my open house. And the open house is in a modular home community, so pretty close, tight-knit properties. So I get out of my car, I go into this property, I unlock everything, open the windows, turn on the lights. I go out on the deck, it's a beautiful warm day. I'm sitting there on one of the steps, and I look down, I'm wearing like a real light cream colored pants. I look down, I go, oh my God, what did I get on my pants? It was a stain about that big.
Like 2 by 2 inches by 2 inches.
Yeah. Like this made the size of a small pancake. And I look again, I'm like, God, that moved.
It's moving. The stain is moving. Okay.
Yes. So I look closer. Oh my God, it is, I don't know what you call it. It's just a swarm of fleas.
Oh!
Fleas. Oh my God. I'm out in the middle of this park. Off come the pants. I am flailing around like a fish out of water. Like I'm just doing this, like just.
Okay. So hold on a second. This came from the place that you came from, right?
Oh, it had to.
And then
I'm coming from home into my car to that place.
Okay, and then had your open house started yet? And you're
nobody
disrobing.
Was there yet. Thank God, nobody was there yet.
Okay.
Well, I'm in this park and I'm on the cell phone. I call my wife, and of course, I had the car. She had no way to get there. So then I called my sister-in-law. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, you have to get over here. Do you have any? Because she has dogs. I'm like, do you have flea spray, flea powder, anything to kill fleas? Give me a torch, anything. Okay. And so she ran over to the pet store. She grabbed a whole bunch of bottles of whatever. It was like a cocktail and stuff. She pulls up.
Okay.
And I am spraying myself down.
And you're
Then I'm
pantless.
spraying-
You're pantless because you ripped your pants off. Okay.
Yeah, I threw everything in a garbage bag.
Okay.
And I run into this house, spraying the house down.
Yeah.
I grabbed the, the
because you're concerned that you brought fleas from the first house to the mobile home. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, thank God it's a vacant home, but still, I mean, people going through and fleas can last for a while without a hose. So I spray the house down, and then I go to get in my car, and I look down, and my floor mats are just covered. Covered. And this was like 10 minutes in this house. I must have like sweet blood or something. I don't know. And so I'm ripping out my car mats. I'm spraying my car. I'm probably going to asphyxiate on flea powder and sprays.
Yeah.
I sprayed everything, get in my car. I put a canceled sign on my open house. Luckily, I had blank stickers. Yeah. And this is all in the span of like 10, 15 minutes. Like my sister-in-law got there pretty quick. And I run home, and my wife meets me, and I'm in the pool, and I jump in the pool, disrobe everything after that, like t-shirt, everything. Yeah. And I did not get out of the pool. Well, about, I don't know, an hour went by, and I got out. My legs, my ankles, like I had ankles from the bite. Oh God, yeah.
Oh, so you were eaten.
Oh yeah, they bit, and there were so many bites, I was having allergic reactions, and so I ended up going to Emerge, getting antihistamines, and then of course they want to do antibiotic because fleas can carry disease, and I'm like, oh my God. And this is like in the first year of real estate, and I'm like, what did I get myself into?
Okay. Well, listen, so I got to say, we're used to every once in a while going into houses, and then there's pets, and then you come home and you'll get like a bite or two on the ankle. Like this kind of happens, right? But man, you've got the extreme case. This is a reminder to people who always think that they watch HGTV and they figure real estate's a glamorous operation, right? Sometimes it's not. This is the dirty reality of our job.
There was just no glamour in that whatsoever. And I didn't look, I wasn't looking around the park or over my shoulder to see who was watching at that point. I did not care. It was disgusting.
Ew. Well, thanks for the story, Jason. I appreciate you joining us.
Man. Yeah. Absolutely. I appreciate it, Tony.
All right. Next, we have with us all the way from the GTA area, Mississauga, right?
That's correct.
Ronn James. Ronn is with Better Homes and Gardens Signature, also a real estate business coach. He is someone that, I'm sure if you were watching TV over the years, you may have seen his face. You were a regular fixture with Marilyn Dennis, right?
Yes.
And the breakfast television, right, Ron?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually, even it actually aired out even in your part of the world.
100%. Yeah, still does. Right?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Well, she's still doing it, right?
She switched TV stations. No longer with City TV. Went to CFTO or CTV.
Yeah.
But Marilyn's. She's from the West. She's from your part of town.
Oh.
Actually Calgary, not as far west as you are. Yeah. But an amazing woman, phenomenal radio and television host. It was always a pleasure to be on her show.
Well, you're no stranger to media, and you've been around for a long time. You've been selling a lot. Both you and I started when we had hair. Right?
Yes. Yeah. If on your back counts.
Oh, okay. Now listen, you got tons of stories. I don't even know where to begin with you. Go ahead. Give us a great example. Yes.
And thank you for that. Yes. When we spoke, I had spoken about back in 2017, I believe, I did a series called The Advent Churs in Real Estate. So it was a play on the Advent calendar. So I did 24 funny stories that affected or happened in real estate, real life.
And you actually have these on video. These are on your.
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So we posted one a day for 24 days. And then last year, 2019, we relaunched it and had some really great funny comments back of people that could relate both as customers and as realtors. So, when you asked me about this, the story that I just finished a book, and the book called Opening Doors, The Keys to Success, is really on my first year in real estate. So I'm a 21-year-old guy. I don't know anything about real estate. Everybody that's in the business could be my mom or dad or my grandparents. Like, I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. Most of my friends are still going to university for at least their first degree before they went on to what else they did.
Yeah.
Anyway, as a new person in real estate, not knowing what's going on, we were introduced to things like office meetings. And right after the office meeting was finished, you'd go on something called a caravan.
Yeah.
So this is
tour.
where we all
office tour.
A tour.
Yeah.
And we would do that just so that everybody in the office could see the new inventory, etc. So customary, we would kind of map out the route and we would head along this tour. Typically, if it was going to be your listing, Tony would be at the front. He would actually let us in the door and he would show us the property.
The host.
And he would host it.
Yeah.
In this particular one, and I had never been on these. This was my very first caravan.
Yeah.
It was my very first office meeting. So I was truly a babe in the woods. Didn't know anybody, didn't know anything. I'm too young.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we're standing outside, lining up to walk into the house, there's at least 8 to 10 realtors waiting to go through the tour.
Yeah.
They open the lockbox, they open the door, and as soon as they open the door, there's all this screaming going on, and everybody's reaching for their knees and ankles because nobody knew that there were cats inside the house.
Oh.
The person who had listed it wasn't there.
Okay.
And didn't tell anybody about the cats.
Okay.
So 4 cats scoot away from the house. So now everybody's going, run, catch the cats. So
they left the house.
They left the house.
Okay.
In a hurry.
Okay.
So I worked at a Century 21, so we're all dressed in overcoats and gold jackets at this point, running around this neighborhood looking for these cats to return them to the client's home. So you got realtors running all over the place, and as we kind of reconvene, we get 4 cats back in the house. At this point, close the door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, that was pretty interesting.
This is your first experience.
My first experience.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm with somebody who I had just met that was 10 years my senior, but we started about the same time. So other than his 10-year more life skills and sales skills, right, it was his first time seeing this as well. And we talked about, how to prevent this in the future, et cetera. Anyway, we finished the tour. We get back to the office, and our broker of record wants to kind of have a little huddle with everybody as to what they saw, what they heard, et cetera. Just a bit of a regroup.
Yeah.
And while we're in our regroup, and there's now, a dozen realtors sitting around their desks kind of thing, the phone rings. Our broker is getting chewed out by somebody on the phone. And we hang up, and he said, did you guys go to a house there was cats?
Yeah.
We were like, yeah, first house. And it's like, and we opened the door and the cats took off, but don't worry about it. We got them. He's like, yeah, I'm not so sure. And it's like, what do you mean you're not so sure? We were there.
Yeah.
4 cats left, 4 cats back. He said, I don't think the 4 cats that you put back belong in that house.
Okay.
This is a true story.
Okay.
The cats that
wrong
we found
cats
tore the house apart, drapes, furniture. It was lots and lots of money in an insurance claim.
Ron, I got to tell you, there's a lot of cat stories. I have never heard that one. That is unbelievable. The wrong cats. Thanks for coming back to the Whole Home Show. Let's jump into yet more stories about real estate. Hit us up with another story there, Ron.
I will. Interesting, as you're showing properties, you kind of get customary to a process. You walk in the door, you're going to show you the foyer first, maybe cover the main floor, maybe go upstairs, and then eventually kind of find your way to the basement.
There's a flow.
There's a flow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you get better at this situation, you start to kind of come up with some of the cues. And I was very fortunate. I had lots of people teach me real estate, and they showed me how to show a house. At this point, it's never step into a room, because every square foot or every square inch of real estate on the floor, if you take up space by standing in the room, at this point, the room just looks smaller. So stand out in the halls, knock on doors, only crack doors open a little bit. There's some real good roadsmithing techniques about how to show a house, as opposed to this is the living room, this is the dining room.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the things that I did was we were in the finished basement of this particular home, and I opened a door which I assumed would be the workshop laundry room, because we hadn't seen that. The rest of the basement was finished. This had to be a utility room. So my client, and I'm looking him in the eye, so I'm not looking forward into the room. I'm looking at him to introduce the room so he can pass by me and walk in and get a sense of the room himself. So as I open the door, I'm looking at him, and his eyes swell, and he starts to run. So he's now running up the stairs, right, from the basement. And I turn to see what the heck spooked him, and we are face to face with this big Rottweiler. So I quickly do what I do because I'm panicked. I slam the door.
Yeah, okay.
So I get out, you know, get the door closed before the Rottweiler responds, because he's probably standing there going, "You really are a special kind of stupid, aren't you?"
Okay, so like the dog had made no noise. You had no idea this dog was there.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So the dog wasn't sure if I was supposed to be there. So again, in the showing instructions, no mention of Cujo in the laundry room.
Yes.
So needless to say, when I slammed the door, the dog figured out, hey, that guy's not supposed to be here. And so he's losing his mind. And I don't know if you've seen what a hollow core door does. It doesn't take much to come through it.
No.
So I close the door. I'm holding the knob at this point. I'm like, I'm making a run for it. And that's what I ended up doing. I did get out of the house and got out before Cujo did at this point, only to go back to the office and phone the listing agent and say, you might want to put a sign on the door.
Oh, you know, actually, we've collected some stories about pets, and it's a reminder. Sometimes, you know, the listing agent, the seller's agent, forgets to inform us about the fact that Cujo was home or the killer cat is home. And, pets are an important part of
My biggest fear, though, Tony, is an empty crate or cage or terrarium.
Yes.
What was supposed to be in it?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like put a sign somewhere.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be. If you do not see this in this tank, you know, go away now.
But you know what? And the other thing, too, sometimes it's an assumption that, you know, people are like, well, you know, people will love my pet. Well, there are buyers out there who are not pet people. So, you know, take the pets away, maybe, you know, it's safer for everyone, right?
Yeah, well, and, you know, everybody, we have a, sold score, right? So it's site, odor, location, and decor, right? So what do they smell when they walk in the door? And sometimes you do need to kind of bring in a friend to see whether your house stinks or not.
Yeah.
People are sensitive to it. And you can tell as soon as they start with the Glade plugins or the Pine Sol, we probably got a problem.
For sure. What's the craziest thing that you've ever encountered in your years? Because you're like you're 30 years in, right?
38.
38 years. Okay. Yeah.
38.
What's something that comes to mind that's like, holy cow?
Well, you know, it showed me generationally, you know, where people are. I remember showing this senior a home, and as he was climbing up the stairs from the basement, I was behind him, and he decided that I guess his bowels needed to be relieved.
And you were behind him on the
right
lower
behind
stairs.
him. Yeah, I think my mouth was open.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and then that kind of echoes, you know, kind of, I guess I attract, you know, flatulence, because I was doing an offer situation. We're sitting at the client's dining room table, so a husband and wife, myself, the buyer's agent at this point, and soon enough, the air is rancid, like tears rolling down people's faces, all looking at each other.
And it wasn't you.
It was a dog under the table.
Yes. I got one of those too.
Oh my goodness, like clear a room flatulence. It was actually in the sign back of that same deal where we almost kind of gassed out the buyer's agent. A very, you know, she was a 40-year-old real estate agent, been doing this a long time, very professional, looked very professional, you know, very well put together, coiffed, etc. So when we were putting together the deal, I had spoken to the seller about his dog, and its issues that it was having. And he said, I promise, we'll make sure he doesn't eat that food, and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
So no problem. We finished the offer at this point, and we're assembling the paperwork, etc. And I complimented the home seller on the good behavior and lack of flatulence from his dog.
Yeah.
And he looks down, because the dog's right underneath his chair, and he starts to giggle. So here's this big burly man giggling, like we just caught him doing something.
Okay.
And what happened was, as the buyer's agent was getting herself put together, her shoes on to go out to the car to see her clients at this point, she realized she only had one shoe.
Oh, the
So
dog
the
ate
dog
the shoe?
Ate the shoe. Like there was nothing left of it. It was shreds. So she's now got one shoe on, limping down the driveway, looking back, and my client's still giggling like a little at how embarrassed he was at the shoe issue.
Hey,
So,
going back to that one where where the senior was in the going up the stairs in front of you, and past wind. So what did he say? What was the reaction?
nothing. He didn't say anything. It was like it never happened.
Okay.
Never happened.
And your mouth was open.
My mouth was So from now on,
Yes.
I go first.
I love it.
I don't need any special treats
I
at
love
this point.
it.
I do. It's funny. We talked about cats, and I had two sisters, and it's literally like out of a out of a fairy tale. So one of the sisters that was referred to me, an incredibly attractive woman, unbelievably at this point, and she's now charged. I mean, she and her boyfriend were going to look for a condo, but she said, "Can you help my mom buy a condo as well?" So I said, "Oh yeah, for sure, I can do that. No, no problem." She said, "Well, my sister and I are going to do all the reconnaissance, and once we see what we're looking for from my mom, right, we're going to bring mom in, and she's going to make the final decision." Excellent. Okay, no problem. So we make an appointment. So the sister's going to meet me and her sister at the office. Well, my client's sister got the brains in the family.
Okay.
So she doesn't look like her other sister. They really don't even look like they're related at this point. Anyway, the other sister is actually an architect. So the one with the brains, right, she makes the big money. The one that's really pretty, she's going to marry somebody that looks pretty. Anyway, so the reality of this, we're in the car, and we've shortlisted a few listings at this point. So my client, the first client, the attractive sister, right? She's now leaning forward between the two seats at the front, speaking to myself, who's driving, and her sister, the architect, who's in the front.
Yes.
So she says, "Hey, Ron, one of the listings we're looking at really is exciting to us." And I said, "Hey, that's great. We're going to, we got an appointment. We're going to get in. We're going to show it to you." And she said, "We have a problem with it, though." It's like, "Oh, yeah, what's the problem?" She said, "I read the remarks of this particular listing, and everything sounds great. But I got to a point where it said, 'Please keep cats in laundry room.'" Okay. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." She said, "Well, my mom's allergic to cats. We can't keep a cat."
Okay.
So the sister looks at me like I'm apologizing. I can't believe the level of, intelligence my sister has.
Okay.
She looks back at her sister in the back seat and says, "Honey, you don't get to keep the cat. They're just doing it for the show."
Okay. Seriously.
Oh
my goodness.
At this point, her sister, the architect, was like, "Ugh, I cannot believe we have the same genetics."
Yeah. I've never seen a contract with a cat written in. That would be interesting.
That's not true. I actually know of a property at this point, which was an inclusion.
Yes.
Was the family cat.
For the house. Oh my goodness.
And they got the family cat with the house.
Yeah.
True story.
Interesting. Thanks again for joining us today. Hope you've enjoyed these stories and have had some good chuckles. I'll be here for you this time next week.